4, 3, 1.
Welcome to the Brow Report. Thanks so much for watching us tonight on Periscope Live, YouTube after the show, and live on blogtalkradio.com/Brow Report. Thanks so much for watching us and listening to us. We greatly appreciate it. Tonight on the show, got a wide range of topics tonight. Barry's off. Barry had things to do, so Barry has a night off. So tonight, it's me, myself, and I, and all of you out there. So feel free to comment on Periscope. We'll read your comments during the show. Also, feel free to give us a call. 347-884-8627 is the number. As always, we are a very social media driven show because we're on the internet. So you have many ways to watch and listen and get the news and views that you can use. And as always, at the end of the night, the feel-good story of the day. We did share it already on Facebook.com/Brow Report, so if you want to see that, you can see that right there. And also, I will be discussing it tonight and my thoughts on it as well. So give us a call tonight if you feel so in-depth to give us a call. We'd love to hear from you tonight on the program. All right, folks, let's get this thing started. We're going to be talking about the Pope visit, some background on the Pope, my thoughts on that. We'll be talking about Carly Fiorina tonight, presidential hopeful. So we'll see how hopeful she really is after it's all said and done. It's going to be very interesting on that tonight. Tragedy in Saudi Arabia, healthcare premiums skyrocketing, and a letter given to the Pope by a little girl. We're going to read a little bit deeper into this and my thoughts on that. It's probably not what you think it is. And some Real Clear Politics polling, and we're talking about the economy tonight, because we're talking about the economy a lot because it's going to affect many Americans in the upcoming weeks. I think we're seeing some indicators of a major stock market crash. But hey, I might be wrong, but you know what? It's worth having a discussion about. So like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Brow Report. Follow us on Twitter and on Periscope at Brower Report. And if you like videos, go to youtube.com, search out Brower Report, and you get the latest news and views that you can use because we're looking out for you, the American people. All right. So let's start with Carly Fiorina tonight. She is the Wonder Woman of the Republican primary right now. People love her. They love her because she's such a great debater. She talks so well. Didn't we have Barack Obama that talked so well and sounded so good back in 2008? Yes, we did. Now, not comparing her directly to Barack Obama, but we've got to be extremely careful on who we elect. We can't just elect people on sound bites and they sound good in debates. We got to look at who they are. On Fox News Sunday, Carly Fiorina explained about her time at HP and Lucent. We know this about Lucent. We know that the stocks, the shares, completely imploded on themselves while she was the head CEO of Lucent. Now, we do know there was a technology bubble and a crash. We get that as well. I mean, there's probably a direct correlation in that people panicked. But also, we've got to look at this. She was head of HP, had a bad purchase of compact computer. We know this. It's a fact. And she was ousted by her own board of directors. And they just laid off another 30,000 people, and they're still trying to consolidate the business. So we know all the facts. I mean, if you want to look at someone's... she doesn't have a voting record, folks, because she's not a politician. So we've got three non-politicians in this race: Trump, Carson, and Fiorina. So we've got to be very careful on these people and make sure that we understand who they are. All right, so Conservative Review wrote an article on her, and I thought it was worth a shot. Conservative Review is Mark Levin is one of the editors of Conservative Review, so I think we can trust what's coming out of there. I'm a big Mark Levin fan. I think he does a wonderful job on his radio show as well. So, Carly Fiorina, Hillary donor. That's the headline on this article. It says, wait for it, Carly Fiorina, it turns out, is a former donor not only to the Democrat Party at large, but to one high-profile Democrat in particular, Hillary Clinton. And unlike Donald Trump, who has been quite open about his own donations for business reasons, Fiorina has tried to convey the exact opposite impression as in for her first debate appearance in August, when looking around at her fellow candidates on the second tier, Fiorina went after Trump with this line: "I don't get a phone call from Bill Clinton when I jumped into the race. Did any of you get a phone call from Bill Clinton? I didn't. Maybe it's because I hadn't given money to the foundation or donated to his wife's Senate campaign." All right. It says the statement is false in this article. The Federal Election Commission's records that Ms. Fiorina was a donor to the technology network TechNet Federal PAC. That's a political action committee, people, if you don't realize what that is. The FEC documents that TechNet in-kind contributions represented by the provision of goods or services in lieu of actual capital. That means if you donate time, services, things like that, instead of just giving straight up cash. Included 9 separate donations to Hillary Clinton's Senate campaign, as well as 1 contribution to her presidential campaign in 2007. Other recipients of TechNet's generosity divided between contributions and in-kind contributions include Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Boxer, which was Fiorina's Senate adversary, or who she was running against in California back in 2010. Senate Democratic leaders Harry Reid and Tom Daschle and the late Ted Kennedy, contrary to the impression that she seeks to make, Ms. Fiorina's generosity, it would seem, does not differentiate party or principle. Even more startling is that the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, Fiorina, was given to HP's own Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Company PAC. Yeah, it's kind of scary when the corporations have PACs, right? A committee that represented the company she was in charge and presumably was responsive to her personal direction, right? She's the CEO, so she's in charge. And among the beneficiaries of the HP PAC, 600 contributions to Senate Democrat leader Harry Reid, 8 to House Speaker and Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, and 9 to the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, an independent donor to Hillary Clinton in its own right. At the very least, this is evident of considerable hypocrisy, right? Think about this, folks. Hillary Clinton was getting money from Carly Fiorina's PACs, right? She's involved in these things. So if Fiorina, unlike Trump, has deliberately misrepresented her campaign contributions, what else is she misrepresenting? Now, that's a valid question, folks. That's a valid question through this article. If she is going in the second tier debate on the Fox News channel, she was, going after Trump when he wasn't even on stage. Now, let's imagine this just for a moment. Let's say she was polling high enough to get in that first debate. Do you think she dared go after Donald Trump during that debate? Because I'm telling you right now, folks, Donald Trump would have been prepared for this woman. Because, if anything, he's in business. He knows other CEOs. He knows all about them. So think about this. Do you think Donald Trump would have really tolerated this? I highly doubt it. He would have probably called her out because here's the thing. When you got $1 billion to spend, you can probably buy a lot of information from people, right? So I think he would have had that information up front, because if he got any wind that she was going to use that line, he would just simply said, hey, your PACs were giving Hillary Clinton. Too bad she didn't show up at your wedding. Maybe you should have gave a little bit more. That's the thing. And these PACs, they run advertising and they work with other PACs to get people elected. That's the scary part, folks. Now, honestly, I would rather eliminate the PACs altogether. And let's just go ahead and just say unlimited contributions. At least you'll know who's buying who now, right? Instead of, I guess, the $2,700 maximum that you can get per person, or $5,400 as a married couple, I think is what FEC allows right now. So I would rather know exactly who's buying who rather than have these shady PACs and this shady money going around, because it is shady. Think about it. We're talking about millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars of money going around to get people elected to office. Now, the small-time candidates, Tim Mobile says, so was the face comment bait to get her to fire back at him? Could be. It could be. Now, if she would have fought back and said something about Hillary Clinton going to his wedding, I think Trump would have came back maybe with a comment of saying, hey, you went ahead and operated PACs, giving money not to her, but other Democrat leaders. Trump was a Democrat at one time. He was independent. He was many things. But I think that Trump would have extinguished that fire very quickly and put her campaign in a tailspin. But here's the thing. Think about it. Maybe Trump wants her to get up in the polls a little bit. Think about this. We're thinking about strategy for a few minutes here on the Brown Report. Because we talk about strategy because you've got to understand how candidates think and what they're doing. It's like, why wouldn't this candidate just go after this other candidate and just knock him out of the race? Well, maybe Donald Trump was trying to knock out Rand Paul in that one debate, saying, why are you on the stage? Trying to make his campaign look like it shouldn't be there. Maybe. Instead, Scott Walker drops out. So let's think about strategy just for a moment here with Fiorina. Trump may want her to keep on coming up in the polls a little bit. Because here's the thing. We know it. You know it. The listeners, the watchers on the program, y'all all understand what's going on here. Because I just explained it to you. Now here's the catch. If she gets up too high and too close to him, Trump has a lot of media attention. People listen to him. He's got a loud voice. All he has to do is just bring up all the PACs and all the things that she's done in her past and just completely blow up her campaign. And what happens when you blow up a campaign? Maybe some of it goes to Carson, maybe some goes to Trump. Because everybody, a lot of people like Trump. I'm not saying everybody likes Trump, but a lot of people like him. He's brash, he's unapologetic, he just tells it how it is, he tells you what's on his mind. But Fiorina, on the other hand, she's acting more like a politician. She is. She's acting like a politician already because she's not coming clean with what she's been involved with. She had a PAC that she was involved with, and a PAC ran by her corporation, which would fall under her as CEO, Chief Executive Officer of HP. So we've got to really start looking at these candidates hard and good. Now, I do recommend conservativereview.com. If it's involved with Mark Levin, he's a trusted voice. I really like the guy. I think the guy knows what he's talking about. Actually, I know what he's talking about. He's spot on all the time. Maybe a little brash at times with people, but you know what? That's his style, and I can appreciate him being honest with his style. So the article goes on to say, it was back in 2008 when Carly Fiorina was a surrogate for GOP presidential nominee John McCain, and well, let's let the Washington Post Ruth Marcus tell the story, since that tale involves Marcus herself. The headline from Marcus's 2015 story on Fiorina read, Carly Fiorina's conversation with Hillary Clinton, fan to fervent critic. Apparently she was a fan of Hillary Clinton. Remember, HP is based out of California, so I can understand giving to Barbara Boxer and some other people inside of California. I get that. But giving to the leadership, and now you're running as a Republican, I understand you're running a business. I 100% get that. And you're trying to lobby. I understand that. Businesses are like people at times. You want to keep them alive. And survival is, unfortunately, politics. But if you pretend to be this conservative all of a sudden when you've been giving to Democrats and liberals and socialists, and in some cases, these people are bordering on left-wing communism, you can't tell me that you're a conservative. Why are you dealing with this people? Why wouldn't you give to conservative candidates that can give you a more pro-business type of environment? But think about it. Think about it for a moment. Computers, right? Who needs computers? The federal government. So dig deeper, folks. Here's the Brown Report challenge. I can't do it all, folks. We have a good staff, but we can't do everything. I mean, we're busy people. But think about this. Why haven't they really dug into how many government contracts HP had under Fiorina's watch? Ooh, wouldn't that just blow up in her face? After she gives to these candidates, and all of a sudden these candidates get re-election or election, and all of a sudden all the government contracts start coming in. Carly Fiorina might be a rhino or a crony capitalist. And I'm just throwing a theory out there because I haven't checked on it, but think about it. Why would you give to candidates unless you wanted something? Right? Like if I gave to a candidate, I want liberty and freedom. I mean, that's what I want. I want people to be free to make choices on their own, buy their own health insurance, choose the occupation they want to be in. Don't get forced to pay high taxes when they're successful. Just because you're successful doesn't mean you should be giving away more money to the government to waste it. It is a waste. So you get to really dig into these people's past, especially if they're a private sector. Now, Ben Carson, neurosurgeon, brilliant guy, didn't really run corporations or anything, so a little bit harder to dig in his background. You can dig into Donald Trump's background, but Donald Trump has come clean pretty much. I'm sure there's some things that we need to know and find out, but generally he's been pretty upfront about it. He's like, I've given the Democrats and Republicans and whoever I need to discuss, and get things done. I get that. He was honest. Is he the best moral character? No. A lot of people aren't nowadays. I'm looking for someone that can get this country turned around. And they don't have to be the moral authority over everything. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I just want someone to have the ability to actually do something to get things turned around in this country. That's what I really want. That's what I really want. Now, folks, if you try to get the YouTube video, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. For some reason, it's not recording tonight. So I will try to upload the Periscope version, which it would not be, I would say, the best of quality, but it will not be landscape. It will be more portrait. So we shall see if we can get that uploaded. So we want to hear from you tonight. If you're listening live on the radio side on blogtalkradio.com, we'd love to hear from you. 347-884-8627. We'd love to hear from you tonight. And remember, like us on Facebook. We want to hear from you on Facebook. You can comment on the articles. You can comment on the graphics. Just tell us what's on your mind on the Brow Report. And we're going to get better technology. That's what we're going to work on now. Better technology. We're a technology type of place. Maybe Carly Fiorina can give us some better equipment. Maybe that's what we should do. We should email Carly Fiorina. Can I get some HP equipment? Can I get some better cameras? That's what we need. And maybe it could be an in-kind donation to the Brow Report, because it will be in-kind. So that's our thoughts on Carly Fiorina tonight. And just as a reminder, folks, always just try to actually look and see who these people are. That's the most important part, who they really are. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on to this crazy situation in Saudi Arabia. News Channel 8 ran an article via the Associated Press. Saudi Arabia says at least 717 people dead in a Hajj stampede. That's H-A-J-J. Says hundreds of thousands of Muslim pilgrims make their way to cast stones at a pillar symbolizing the stoning of Satan. Yeah, okay. In a ritual called Jamarat, the last rite of the annual Hajj, on the first day of the Eid al-Adha. And I apologize if I'm missaying this. I'm sorry. In Mina, near the holy city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Thursday, September 24, 2015, Saudi Arabia's Civil Defense Directorate says at least 150 people have been killed in a stampede at the annual Hajj pilgrimage. This picture is like, it's almost like a mass, it's a pilgrimage. That's what it is. And let's say it's like kind of what's happening in Europe right now, all those people getting pushed into Europe. Pretty interesting stuff, needless to say. So they said this Thursday's disaster was the deadliest such incident on the annual Hajj pilgrimage in more than 2 decades. It comes nearly 2 weeks after a crane collapsed in Mecca, killing 100 people. Did you hear about that crane on September the 11th? A lightning bolt hit it, and it fell and killing 100 people. September 11th, a crane in Mecca gets struck by lightning. I mean, think about this. This is a desert. This isn't like hotbed rain thunderstorm area. Lightning hit it. I'm not saying it's a sign from God, but the irony is pretty much there. So just you judge it for what it is. But that's some crazy stuff that's been going on in Saudi Arabia. They said the crush happened in Mina, a large valley about 5 kilometers, 3 miles from Mecca, has been the site of past Hajj stampedes. So these people apparently know about the stampedes. If this is the stampedes of like running of the bulls in Spain, this is a running of the Muslims through Saudi Arabia. Yeah, right. So, do you really, I mean, you knew this was going to happen. It's happened before. I guess this is one of those times where you're like, when history repeats itself, yeah, it's happened more than once. It says also the Civil Defense Directorate says at least 805 other pilgrims were injured. So we're looking at 1,500 casualties in this situation. It says Mina, where pilgrims carried a symbolic stoning of the devil by throwing pebbles against 3 stone walls. Sounds legit. It also houses more than 160,000 tents where the pilgrims spend the night during the pilgrimage. Oh, so this is where those tents are at with the air conditioning probably. It's right here. So they didn't want the refugees staying there because they're more interested in the pilgrims. They're probably going to spend money. Because remember this, folks. This pilgrimage, I guess they say they want you to do it once in a lifetime. It's a once in a lifetime type of thing, right? So they want them to go there at least once. So apparently they wanted to make sure those tents were available to the pilgrims. Now that's something you don't hear on other shows, right? You heard it here. I figured it out for you. How convenient. But amazing that this has happened over and over again. It also reads the stampede was the deadliest disaster of the Hajj since 2006, when more than 360 pilgrims were killed in a stampede in the same area. Another stampede at Mina in 2004 left 244 pilgrims dead and hundreds injured. So tell me again. Maybe I need some explaining here or some clarification of my thought process. Hundreds of people get killed during these things. So why do people keep going? And why can't people act a little bit more civil and not stampede? I mean, is this stampede like a walking stampede? Is this a running stampede? What kind of stampede is this? Because I'm really not getting, I guess, the full grasp of the entire situation there in Saudi Arabia, how they do this. Now, I'm not going there because I don't want to be crushed in a stampede, but is it kind of like the stampede that's happening in Europe right now? Is it like that, where they come across these Greek islands and destroy them? Is that the stampede? I'm just curious what the the definition of this is with Bill Clinton. I want to know the definition of a stampede in this pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. All right, next up, we talk about this a lot on this show. Maybe not as much lately, but as your work and your employer comes due, it's almost that time of year where they start talking about health insurance renewals and how much it's going to cost, so you have an idea so you can make your elections, right? Investors.com wrote an article. Health premiums have climbed $4,165 since Obama promised to cut them at $2,500. So we're looking at about a $7,365 gap in the promise. It reads employer-based health insurance premiums climbed 4.2% this year for family plans, according to the annual Kaiser Family Foundation report. That's up from 3% the year before. So we're looking at 7 to 8% increase. Since 2008, the average family premiums have climbed a total of $4,165. Now, if you see people on social media saying, my insurance plan went down. Okay, so ask them for clarification what's their deductible. I bet they don't know their deductible. It's probably 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, something ridiculous. Here's what happens. You buy a plan. I'm going to give this, I'm very simple. Insurance is a game of risk. There's a risk pool. If you pay a higher premium, you're going to get better coverage, right? Okay, that's how it usually works. So you pay a higher premium so you can get the lower deductible so they'll pay out quicker, right? It's just an offset. You pay more and you get a better plan. If you pay less, that means you are putting less into the risk pool. So what they're going to do is they're going to have a higher deductible, which means you have more out of pocket. It's a simple concept, folks. It's so simple that the government understands it. The insurance companies, the health insurance companies, I hate to say this, but they're in on it. Well, they didn't go kicking and screaming and say they didn't want to be a part of this, right? Think about this for a few minutes. They did not fight this. Now, hospitals and some other doctors, they were fighting this because the reimbursement was going to be bad. But at the same time, think about this. Why would doctors and hospitals want to deal with this type of insurance? They don't, because the deductibles are so high. So what happens? The hospitals and the doctors say they take someone in with a high deductible. In other words, that the patient is on the hook for the deductible. Say the deductible is $10,000 just for giggles, time on the show. They go to the ER. They have a $20,000 bill. The first $10,000 is out of pocket from the customer, the patient. Issue is with that situation is the hospital is not going to get paid for it. What happens on the back end is the hospital takes it as a loss and writes it off their taxes. See where this becomes a little bit weird? Yeah. They charge for a service. Service is rendered. They will either try to collect from the patient, or if they can't pay, they'll sell it to collections and they'll write it off. So they get a little bit of money. Say there's a $10,000 bill. They sell it for 10 cents on the dollar to a collection agency eventually. So the hospital gets $1,000. They write off the other $9,000, and the collection agency is trying to collect the other $9,000. And maybe they'll sell it for $5,000. The collection agency makes money on the collection of the debt. This is a dirty game, folks. This is not American at all. Not at all. So President Obama tried to get more people health insurance by playing a shell game with the coverage. They knew exactly what was going to happen. The insurance companies are pocketing billions of dollars. And I'm not saying the insurance companies are bad. They're in business to make money. Insurance is about risk. And here's the scary part. This ties in a little bit later in the show. Over 95% of insurance companies out there, no matter if they're home, life, auto, renters, whatever insurance, they invest the money in the market. Did you know that? Fun fact. Because here's the thing. Insurance companies, they have to have reserve on hand to pay the claims. Typically, companies will have what they call float. Float is extra premium that's out there that they're not paying on claims. Some insurance companies are really good at what they do. They underwrite really well. They can nail it down to, it's a science, you can say, and have the ability to have enough float out there that they can invest in the market and make money. Some companies are very conservative. Some companies take a lot of risk. Back before the 2007-2008 market crash with the housing bubble, a lot of insurance companies were dealing with the market. Not just stocks, but they're dealing with those subprime mortgages and the derivatives. They were very heavily invested in these. And it affected other places as well. It affected the reinsurance companies. And let me explain this to you. People need to understand this. And here's the thing, folks. Tell people about the show, because you're not going to get these explanations. They're not going to take the time to explain it. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, these other networks, they're about entertaining you. I'm about educating you, the American people. If anything, we have valid information that you need to understand. Okay, so So look at what's happening right now and what happened back then in 07, 08. The reinsurance side, you're like, Matthew, what's reinsurance? I don't get this. Okay, reinsurance is AIG. Remember AIG, the big insurance company that was too big to fail, that got bailed out by the government, and the government actually bought into them? AIG was insuring the mortgage-backed securities of the subprime loans. Now, when things are good and, economy's good, AIG's bringing in billions of dollars on the reinsurance side, not paying any claims, right? So you would think they would have a lot of float. Apparently, they took on so much risk that that float was just not enough. And when the stock market started to tumble, they were losing the float money they had in the market, and they were unable to pay the claims quickly on the mortgage-backed securities. And also, people had bets against the mortgage-backed securities because you know what they knew? They knew giving a $500,000 loan to that unemployed person in California that had no job, no income, and no assets, those ninja loans, they knew they were going to fail. So they bet against them. So when you start seeing the mortgages start foreclosing, and a lot of good people lost their homes. A lot of people got stuck. Not because they got necessarily a bad loan. When the economy tanked, people lost their jobs. It was a domino effect. The people that had the ninja loans had no intention of really making the mortgage payments. So when those started to fall, the market started tightening up on credit. And credit is what makes the United States go around, folks. Hate to say it, but that's the way it is. Credit makes the world go around right now. So we had all these people losing their homes. The ones that couldn't afford them to begin with, they got the bad loans, the subprime ones. And when the interest rate adjusted, and I'm going to explain a lot of things here, but you have to understand all the dynamics that occurred back in this. And this is related to insurance. The dynamic of the insurance was these people that could not pay the loans, their homes went back, right, to the banks. The banks were trying to unload them, right, trying to sell them, because they didn't want to hold on. Banks are not about holding in the assets. They want to make sure they're liquid to keep on making loans. So when they had these homes, they were selling them next to nothing in the foreclosure market, which what happens? Reduces home values. It is a vicious cycle. So the people that had the adjustable rate mortgages, when they adjusted, you have to refi. Did you know that? Oh yeah. Say someone gets a negative amortization loan. You're like, what the heck is a negative amortization loan? It is an interest-only loan where you pay not just interest, you pay actually less than the interest. So the interest keeps on negatively amortizing on top of the loan. So if you got like a $300,000 loan and you got one of these negative amortization loans, instead of paying down principal or even an interest-only loan, just paying the interest, it was actually back building interest on top of it. People were, living high on the hog during this time before the 07-08 crash. They're like, housing prices keep going up. I'm in a good position. I can get a home, $300,000-$400,000 home, next to nothing, just negative amortization loan. Then I'll refinance it when my income goes up. Unfortunately, it just didn't work that way for people, and they got caught looking and caught slipping. I hate to say it, folks, but if it's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So now we're in the situation now where the Tampa Bay area, near where I live in here in Florida, still has one of the highest rates of foreclosure. And you're thinking, I thought the crisis was over. It's not, folks, because a lot of these banks, they are more willing to let someone stay in a home than actually let it sit and possibly go into disrepair even more. People stealing the copper, the metal pipes out of the home, stealing the air conditioning units. A lot of things happen. If you haven't been in the foreclosure area or understand it, it's not that good. It's not fun. It affects home prices. It affects crime. It affects so many things. So these banks would rather have someone living there, and rather than having to hold on to something. So what's happening now, as the market's got a little bit better, and the banks can make a little bit more money on the homes, and either they're trying to sell them through a realtor or try to get them through the foreclosures. This is what's happening now. They're starting to actually force them out now and force them through the foreclosure courts and finalize a lot of these loans. And unfortunately, the Tampa Bay area in Florida has a lot of them still out there. So just to give you a little background on insurance, mortgage crisis, you have to understand. If you understand it, then you can be prepared for the next round of craziness that's going to be coming around the corner. So getting back to health insurance premiums, it's not good. President Obama promised you can keep your health plan and keep your doctor. It was a lie. But see, here's the thing. They don't ever call them out. We can start calling these people out when they start lying. We really honestly have to. All right, so let's go on to the Pope makes a visit, right? Pope comes to the United States. First trip, actually his first trip ever to the United States of America. Just a little background on the Pope, in case you didn't notice. He's from South America, Argentina. Socialist, if not communist in South America. He was raised in this type of environment. And I would hope by his visit to the United States, I think he actually made a comment during his address to Congress saying that we need to live up to our standards or our morals. I think that's the gist of it. We do have higher standards in the United States, and I think I think the Pope is right. We should be living up to a higher standard than we've been doing. I hope that he had a conversation with the Castros about stop murdering their citizens and stop imprisoning people with different political views. I would hope he had a conversation. I don't know what his conversation was. I'm very interested in what he told President Barack Obama in a meeting, because and here's the thing. If the Pope wanted to make an impact on the American people, he should address the genocide of abortion in this country. Tens of millions of children wiped out. Souls wiped out. Think about it. And the Pope said, since it's a Jubilee year a few weeks ago, that he was given the ability for forgiveness. I understand the Catholic Church has a lot of things, a lot of traditions, a lot of things you confess to your priest. I don't get that, but whatever works. I don't understand how you don't have a personal relationship with God and you can't ask for forgiveness. Now, I know if something like that happened, I can assure you that would be something terrible if an abortion happened. That's just, it's terrible. It's a terrible thought. But people do make mistakes, and I think there is a redemption, and you can get right, ask for forgiveness, and help others not make the same mistake that someone had made in the past. I wholeheartedly believe that. That I think the Pope missed a tremendous opportunity to not address the abortion situation in this country. It's not about birth control. Well, maybe it is. It's the most savage birth control. I mean, the Catholic Church doesn't want you using birth control, right? I guess, they want you to multiply and prosper and all of these things. I get what the end game there, but I still wholeheartedly believe that this Pope missed a tremendous opportunity to do that. He also missed an opportunity, and maybe he didn't, maybe he just doesn't understand the United States all that well yet, because he hasn't really visited too often or talked to everyday Americans probably, but maybe the bishops and the cardinals in the United States made a conscious effort to tell the Pope the United States is very generous. We are a very generous country. If it wasn't for the United States, there would be a lot worse situations in the world. The United States has stepped in so many times to right wrongs in the world. Now, have we made our mistakes? You're darn right we made a lot of mistakes in this country. But if you learn from them and you try to do the right thing, good things can happen. I think if the Pope understood um, American we're an exceptional society. We really honestly are. And if the Pope understood that, I think that he would be more advocating for capitalism because think about it. Look at these socialist and communist countries, Venezuela. People starving. Before, they were capitalist. Then went communist. Breadline, starvation. Political prisoners, property being seized. Cuba, before the Castro revolution. Before the revolution, you had massive wealth. People had jobs, food, hope. Then communism came, and guess what happened? And you can't blame the United States for it. They did it to themselves. That's what they did. They created this massive communist society where people starve and are in poverty. I don't see a country in this world that socialism or communism has worked. And you'll say, Matthew, if I might get a liberal watching occasionally or some kind of weird left-wing nut job, maybe they watch or listen. But I'm really concerned with the amount of countries that have been successful. Soviet Union, complete collapse. Eastern Europe collapsed under communism. China can't even do it. China, folks, Red China, communist nation, has a sprinkling capitalism to make it happen. Because it doesn't work. Poverty does not work. Pointing a gun at someone's head can only get you so far. If there's no motivation to do it, they're just like shoot me and end this. That's what it's up to. Look at North Korea. North Korea, poverty, communist. Venezuela, communist. I mean, name all the socialist countries and communist countries, and I saw this as a quote. The goal of socialism is communism. Vladimir Lenin, the guy from the Soviet Union, that guy? Yeah, that guy. The guy that did the communist revolution in the Soviet Union. Sprinkle in socialism, eventually you get communism. But what happens? Tens of millions of people died. For what? For an idea. A really bad idea. And guess what happened? The people at the top, they didn't share in the communism and socialism. It was crony communism. Because the people at the top, they got fed. They had cars. They had a decent life. The party members, they call them, right? The party members. They had it all right. Everything was just fine for the party members. So that's just another fun fact about the Pope's visit. He really dropped the ball, folks. He should have really went after the abortion issue. If he'd done that, you think there'd be a lot more support. But getting to another portion of my concern, this is from KHOU.com out in Houston, Texas. Girl gives letter to Pope, fears her parents will be deported. Says, the delivery of a crayon-scrawled letter to Pope Francis by 5-year-old Sophie Cruz may have been the most memorable moment of Francis's first full day in the United States. Cruz's father lifted her over the barricades as Francis paraded down the ellipse, told CBS and other news outlets. She gave the Pope the letter and illustration as a means of delivering a message. All right, so you have a legal immigrant breaking the law, pulling his child over a barricade, breaking some ordinance or law, and giving a letter to the Pope. Here's the thing. So this little girl is a puppet in a bad play, a very bad play. This play doesn't end well, and I am absolutely sick and tired of liberal left-wing nut jobs using kids. Because you'll see probably Democrats come out, this is such a great thing, this little girl, she's a hero, the parents should stay. Okay, so you tell me next time, you liberal jerks, you liberal moron idiots. I'm calling you out right now because I'm just getting really pissed off right now. I'm saying it right now in the air. If you believe this little girl should stay, then stop going abortion on demand and murdering children in the womb. You're allowing United States citizens to be murdered, right? Is it? I mean, let's look at it. And T-Mobile, yeah, never let a situation go to waste. Yeah, that's what liberals do every time. Remember Adolf Hitler? He surrounded himself with children because they're taking the guns away for the safety of the children. Then he does experiments on Jewish children and murders them. Yeah, brilliant. What? I mean, this is what liberals do. Socialists and communists. They use opportunity. They use media as an opportunity to get something out there. This is just another perfect example of manipulating a 5-year-old child. Here's the thing. She may have been born in the United States. She's got the quote-unquote birthright citizenship. Okay, I've said this many times in the show. Let them stay. Let the kids stay. If they're United States citizens, let them stay. Okay? Deport the parents. Or if you want to keep families together, the kids go back with the parents to the country of origin. Hey, families get to stay together, right? Simple solution, right? Here's the problem. Well, you got all these children being born into poor families. They're on Medicaid, they're on government assistance, and the parents get to stay, and they don't work because they're getting paid to have kids. You see, it's a bad situation. It's a terrible situation. And we continue and allow this to happen over and over and over and over again. And now these media outlets are saying, oh, all this courage. Use crayon scrawled, letter. This little girl, if her parents continue to tell her, you know what, we might get deported because, because the people don't like us. No, it's because you're breaking the damn law. You're breaking the law, and you're telling your child it's okay to break the law. You're telling your child it is okay to come to the United States illegally and break the law. Not only that, you force your child over a barricade to give a letter to the Pope. That's the thing. Just because you were born in the United States, because your parents are here illegally, I honestly think it should not give birthright citizenship to that. 100% against it. It's like someone goes into a bank, okay, robs a bank, but gives the money to somebody else, thinking that the other person's they don't have to give the money back. But you see, the money giving to the other person is a result of a crime to begin with, right? It's a crime. So you cannot continue to allow crimes to happen like that. It's ridiculous. It's like, I just can't stand this kind of stuff anymore. It's just another prime example of using children as a means to an end. And that's sick. That's the sickest form of sick, when you're using kids to get your way. I can't stand these type of things. And the politicians that don't stand up, I want to know, where's Donald Trump in the situation? Where's Carly Fiorina? Where's Ben Carson? Where are these supposed conservative minds, and maybe Trump's not the best version, or Carly Fiorina, as we've talked about on the show already. But where's Ted Cruz? Where's Rand Paul? Where's Mike Huckabee? Where's Rick Santorum? You can name them off. Where's Chris Christie? I mean, where are these supposed presidential candidates or U.S. senators like Marco Rubio or Jeb Bush? Where are they when it comes to using children as a means to an end to get your policies done? Maybe they want to use children eventually to do their thing. But this is just the exact thing. Now, if you look at portraits, okay, throughout the history of the world, look how they surround themselves with children. Politicians, the children are our future. Well, the children are our future. Well, how can we allow tens of millions of abortions if they're our future? Or are we just willing to kill off our future in the name of convenience? Instead of, actually taking some personal responsibility for yourself. If you don't want children, use birth control. That's a humane way of doing it. How about this? Stop banging out each other all the time and maybe get married or, do something like that. I am tired of the same old, same old. This is why this country was once great. The war on poverty has destroyed the family. We've spent trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars waging a war on poverty. All we've had is people surrender to poverty. Because when you pay them to stay poor, they will be poor. If you pay them to live somewhere, it gives them no motivation to move. If you give them food and give them shelter and give them clothes and give them cash to spend, they will stay where they're at. If you give them public schools to go to and they do not use the public school education to better themselves, it's another waste of money. Trillions of dollars spent and nothing for it. Now, liberals will say, hey, we spent trillions of dollars, fighting wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and building their countries, blah, 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 blah. Well, we spent 50, 60 years of this war on poverty. It's been 50 years of the war on poverty. But go back to FDR, he was starting his own war on poverty, excuse me, with the New Deal, creating Social Security. All these things that were created to help against poverty. But all it's done is create dependence and more poverty. We have more people in poverty than ever before. Why? Bad policy. But the candidates aren't talking about this, folks. They're talking about this things that don't really matter. If you don't have a country that's economically strong, you won't have a country. If you don't have a country with borders, you won't have a country anymore either. We allow tens of millions of illegal immigrants to come to this country, and they have kids, and they stay. And they're poor. So guess what? They're on the welfare rolls. And who pays for them? The people that have jobs. We have 94 million people that don't work and a 5.1% unemployment rate. You're being lied to. You're being lied to. So, crazy stuff. Let's look at Real Clear Politics averages, because I think that you deserve that, to discuss that. All right, so let's look at Real Clear Politics average. Trump from 826 to 920, 27.3, Carson 21.3, Cruz 7.8, Fiorina 6.8. Now this is a few days without data, of course. Keep in mind. Trump's up by 6 points over Carson. There's some people that are barely even polling right now. CBS, I guess is YouGovernment or Youth Government. I don't know, but it really is. This was one of the polls from 9.3 to 9.10. Trump 29, Carson 25, Cruz 10, Fiorina 4. There's two candidates polling at 0, Perry and Graham. Perry's out. Graham might as well be out right now. And that means Santorum 3, Kasich 2, Jandal 2, Paul 2. Walker was at 5. Walker's out, so his 5% is going to go somewhere. Perry was 0. Perry lost his chance. 2012 was his great opportunity, and he had some health issues apparently, but he should have never ran in the first place. And then this time around, he says, I wasn't ready in 12, so Perry wasted our time. You don't say. I was a campaign director, okay, and I would never tell my candidate to admit to something like that, even if it was. Even if it was true. You wasted people's time last time you ran? I mean, you could say in your heart, it's like, I wasn't ready for that. But let's be more prepared this time. Don't just come out and just say, it's like, I wasn't ready last time. So you wasted all that money, all that time, and everybody's time and energy helping you. Why would they want to help you this time? Because you may not be ready again. So, Perry, decent governor in Texas, should never have said it. But when you have 16, 17 candidates, it's very tough to get your name out there and, get any kind of traction. So it's very, 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 very tough. Very tough. All right. We had a feel-good story of the night. Before we get to that, there's another one that I want to share tonight. And we're going to share it on Facebook.com/BrowReport. Very heartwarming. There was one today that I shared that was really good. But this is the tearjerker, folks. You demand the feel-good story. You're going to get the feel-good story tonight. But before we do that, remember, folks, we're live Tuesday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, new time. Same bat channel, different bat time, as they say, as I say. So, tell your friends and family about the show. We are ever expanding the show. We are trying to get more and more avenues for you to watch the show. And I apologize about the YouTube. We're going to see if we can get it on the site and on the YouTube channel. We're going to do our best to do that tonight. We are. All right. So the feel good story of the night, because people demand the feel good story. The people I talked to was like, at one point, Matthew, where did the feel good story go? I'm like, ooh, you like the feel good story? Okay, well, if the people like the stories, I'll give them the stories, because you know what? I listen. We at the Brow Report listen to our listeners and the people that watch the show. We listen. We will not ignore our listeners, because we care about our listeners, because they care about our country. All right. So I'm going to post this in a few minutes. There's a girl, Ariana, and a girl named Mia. Mia, 9 years old, is trying to raise money to help her best friend, Ariana, who is homeless, get out of a motel into a more permanent home. For Mia, family is only a matter of who you love, and she believes once the community sees what they see, more help will follow for the Gillen family. Mia's family has set up a GoFundMe account. Their number one goal is to get enough help to get the two in a more permanent home. So far, they raised $1,690 of $3,000 goal. That's September 24th, 2015. There's a GoFundMe account, GoFundMe.com/Ari and Kim. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to share this tonight on the Brow Report Facebook page. I encourage everyone watching and listening to share this. I'm going to share this in multiple groups and multiple platforms, because you know what? This is about Americans care about Americans and kids caring about kids. That's what it's all about, folks. Is the government getting this girl out? Is the government trying to help her? Apparently not. They're not doing a really good job. The compassionate government, once again, at work. They're not. But Mia is trying to help her friend get a more permanent home. And we don't know the entire situation here. But it's time for us to start helping each other again. If a 9-year-old can help their friend, another child, that's America right there. Not a government handout. It's someone saying, I have a friend, please help my friend. And having the courage to step up and say, I have a friend that needs help. You know, people are always times saying, don't get involved in things, it's none of your business. Well, what's what happened to this little girl? Ariana, what's what happened to Ariana? What's going to happen to her? How's her opportunity to move up in the American dream? How's that going to happen? That's why we got to help each other. That's what being an American is all about, helping each other and not depending on the government to do it. The government's cold-hearted. It takes and buys votes from other people. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. But Mia's helping Ariana. And I encourage you to go to the GoFundMe account. Remember, go to Facebook.com/BrowReport, and we're going to share that on the page tonight. Make sure to share it with your friends and family. It's extremely important that we help other Americans. If we helped each other, the government would be out of business in the welfare business. Because we can do it better than the government can do it. More efficiently and less salaries to do it. Because remember, if they're taking money, they're paying someone to move the money around. So we might as well just do it ourselves. I want to thank everybody so much for listening tonight. I greatly appreciate it. As always, we are live Tuesday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Brow Report radio show. As we continue to grow, folks, we want to hear from you. If you're watching on Periscope, on the Periscope.tv side, on the PC side, instead of the app, I encourage you to go to the app side. If you go to the app side, you can give us hearts and let us know when you're enjoying the show. You can also comment during the show as well and tell us what's on your mind. And we want to read what you're saying on the air. As many times as we can read them, we'll try to read them on the air. And here's the thing, open invitation, folks. If you want to get involved in a grassroots radio, internet-based show, let us know. We want to get as much reach as we can. We're not making millions of dollars, but on this show, you're going to continue to get news and views that you can use. I'm not a PhD. I'm not a master's degree. I'm just going to give you background. I got a bachelor's in business, folks. The first person in my family to graduate college. I'm driven. I'm driven to make this country better. And if we can get people to wake up now, maybe get some good people to run for office and make a difference, we can turn this thing around before it's too late. Now, turning it around, it will be tough, folks. It will be tough. It's like physical therapy for the country. We got $18.5 trillion in debt. That's a lot to come back from. But if we don't do it, I'll say it. Think about the kids. You got kids. Do you want to weigh them down with a bunch of people's laziness? No, we don't want to do that. We need to take care of the people that need to be taken care of. And we need to get people back to work in this country. That's what we need. So if you want to be a part of a grassroots effort, go to facebook.com/BrowReport. Like us, share our information. If you want to be part of the grassroots effort, that's the best way to do it. Share, share, share. Share the information. Remember, information is power. And we want you to be a part of the Brow Report. We want to help save this country. We've got, I don't know, before we end the show tonight, I want to tell you, we've got great people involved. Bill, co-host, Barry, Chris, Tyson helping us with our graphics, Steven, our producer, and other people that are in the background helping with other things, advice, things like that. We got a lot of people in the background to help. If you want to be a part of this, let us know. Share our stuff. If you want to change the world, you've got to educate people. You just can't be just hoping and praying a miracle happens and they start getting it all of a sudden. You've got to make the effort. It's about saving our country. It's not about ratings like the mainstream networks do. It's not about ad revenue. It's about doing the right thing. The right thing is saving this country from the crony capitalist and the politicians that are getting influenced by billions of dollars in donations. We can stop this, but it starts with you, all of you, now. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, we love to hear from you. If you want to call during the show, feel free. If you don't like calling during the show, we get it. Some people don't like talking on the phone. But tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Post on the facebook.com/BrowReport page. Tell us what's on your mind. Share articles with us. Tag us in things. We want to hear from you. We'll be back live Tuesday night edition of the show, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, new time, 8 p.m., a little bit earlier, because the people demanded the show be earlier. And we all talked about it and we said, you know what? 8 o'clock's a much better time. We want to be able to reach as many people as we can on the Brow Report. So thanks again for listening and watching online with us on the Brown Report. And we'll be back, like I said, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the Brown Report. Have a great night.